Good, good. Right, for those of you who are as old as I am, you may remember the famous line from Jaws, I think we need a bigger boat. Well, I think we need a bigger table. I understand this is the biggest session of the conference, and it's just my luck that I get to chair it. We have now 55 minutes, and we have what looks like 14 speakers delivering 5 papers at 10 minutes each, and then there's going to be a Q&A session at the end. So if you can all save your questions to the end, because otherwise it'll be complete chaos. Okay. My name is Philip Cohen, I'm from DIT, I'm chairing the session, and I think without more ado, if you're ready, I'm going to call on Jack Hyland and Lisa Callaghan from Dublin City University, who are going to talk about Ask the Audience, identifying what library services are important to the research community at DCU. Thank you, Jack and Lisa.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to tell you a bit about what's been happening at DCU now. In September 2016, that's the clicker for going? Yeah, that's it. In September 2016, Dublin City University incorporated with a number of institutions, St. Patrick's College, Mater Dei, Church of Ireland College of Education, and overnight it increased the size of the university from 12,000 to 16,000 students. And it also made big changes to the teaching and learning and research focuses of the university. So, big expansion to the HSS faculty, creating new schools like history and geography. It also created a 5th faculty of the Institute of Education. And also big changes for the library. Went from having one library building to having 2 library buildings, taking in the new library in St. Patrick's College. And it also brought the number of staff up to 70. So we restructured the library. That's the organizational structure there, bringing it from 2 directorates up to 4. I'm only going to talk about the second one there, the new Directorate of Research and Teaching. Who's with that? The Associate Director is Ellen Breen, and it mostly consists of the old subject team from DCU, based in Glasnevin, which had 5 subject librarians and 1 senior library assistant. It also pulls in the research communication service, managing or institutional repository, DURIS, and other duties. That was previously with collections management. Also pulls in the education librarian from Church of Ireland College of Education. And also we've just created a new role, a second HSS librarian, who's going to be starting shortly. So we need to review and restructure this team, and we need to rethink our structure, our roles, our priorities. And one of the big debates we're having internally at the moment is the subject versus functional discussion. If you're familiar with this, a lot has been written about this and a lot has been discussed about it recently. Those are some of the publications that have come out about it in recent years. All of them very good reads, including articles by John Cox from Galway on this, and also in the ANLTC at a seminar on this issue last year. And what it boils down to is that in DCU, in the research and teaching team, we have to make one of these choices about what our future roles are going to be. Are we going to stick with being traditional subject librarians, having a lot of jack of all trades, doing liaison and subject support, kind of offering a wide range of services repeated across a number of schools, or which develops very strong relationships with the schools and faculties, which we recognize, but it doesn't always scale up well for emerging research services like research data management. Or could we take the approach that Galway have taken and reinvent ourselves as functional specialists? I think the strongest selling point for me anyway with this is not so much that it develops more detailed skills. It's more that the library has a single go-to person for something like research data management, someone who can make decisions quickly on this and build up partnerships around the university. So do we want to have an education librarian, a business librarian, or do we want to have research data librarian, an e-learning librarian, those kind of specialities? Or we could take the third option, the hybrid matrix option, which a lot of people have gone for, of trying to have our cake and eat it, have the kind of the liaison roles and also have the specialisms. But the challenge there is to come up with a kind of a coherent set of roles and a coherent team structure that will reflect that. We haven't completed this review process yet. It's still ongoing. The biggest bit of work we've done so far on that is we've done a major survey of faculty, asking them about what they want from the library to support their teaching and learning, to support their research. And I'm going to pass over to Lisa now, who's going to talk more about that.
So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the survey that we undertook in January this year. And the purpose of the survey, it wasn't to get an overall sense of satisfaction, it was really to identify priorities and identify the priorities in terms of a range of different services and supports, and also help us in identifying possibly areas that we can be leading and partnering on. So, and also to see were there any faculty variation. So, you know, do we need to move away from the one-size-fits-all approach? So we were really delighted with the response to the survey. We had 182 respondents. And although we don't have an overall figure for the total number of post-incorporated research active staff, we thought that was a great response anyway. So we had the largest proportion was from the humanities and social sciences, which was very encouraging because this is where a number of those new schools were. And we also had a great response from the Institute of Education as well, which was just the newly formed faculty. So just my little disclaimer, just unless otherwise stated, the percentages shown on the screen represent responses for where it was indicated it was a very important or an important priority. So just some headline kind of things there. The majority of people had kind of recent contact with the library. A large majority felt it was important to have a designated library contact, and we were also getting a clear message around the role in providing advice and support in acquiring, managing and evaluating library resources. So that was kind of our collection development question. In terms of the more traditional liaison teaching responsibilities, which we also wanted to get a sense of as well, there was good response to one-to-one research consultations for staff, but it was higher or considered more important for students. In-class and online library instruction was almost kind of equally valued there, a little bit higher for the online library instruction. And again, this was further supported in some of the free comments that we got as well, with suggestions maybe that we would record sessions as well. Although we obviously offer online library instruction, that was a particular suggestion that we took on board. And also consultation on integrating information literacy into the curriculum was also considered important. I was going to highlight some of the research priorities that came out of it as well before I kind of look at that kind of whole approach to identifying the priorities for the different faculties. The highest rated one was workshops for staff and researchers, and also followed closely by information on systematic reviews and open access and DERS. There were some faculty variations there, which engineering and computing rated that 54%. But when we looked at the moderately important responses for open access and scholarly communications, they came up a little bit higher as well, 76% there for scholarly communications and publishing. So a newly emerging area is data management planning. And when we looked at the moderately important responses in conjunction with that, that also rated very highly at 94%. In terms of bibliometrics or reporting on scholarly impact and outputs, that rated 71%, with engineering and computing, again, a little bit lower, and it was 100% for the business school there. So two services that we don't currently offer that we wanted to get a sense of how important they would be to the community were University Press for monographs, and that rated 50%, with higher in science and health and in education there as well. And also a University Press for journals. And again, the faculty differences there were that it was higher for humanities and social sciences and for education as well. So to try and kind of get a sense of, you know, the variations, we kind of mapped it all out into the very important and important for each faculty. So we kind of tried to get a sense of where there was differences and where there were similarities. So what we came to was a number of conclusions, but as Jack said, it's an ongoing process. So some of the things that came out were that a designated contact was important for 3 faculties within their top 3, workshops for staff and researchers rated very highly, as well as online information literacy and collection development. So as well as feeding into the review, we've also found this very useful in going back out and speaking to the community and presenting the results of the survey to them. So that in itself has been a very useful exercise. So that's it. Thank you.